WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany, tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have something from Grand Traverse from Michigan, a Grand Traverse Distillery, Ole George Whiskey, 100% straight rye, alcohol 46.5%, distilled, aged, and bottled by Grand Traverse Distillery, Pure, Michigan. Now this bottle is no longer available in the US of A. So I bought it here from my local online dealer, Mike Whiskey, and he actually has a few of these. I have no idea how he got his hands on them. The price for this 750 milliliter bottle is 89 euros and 50 cents, which I think is a lot. All right, so Whiskybase number 26929. So it's been around for quite a while. Why did I buy it? Well, I just went through the price list of Mike's Whiskey shop, and I was like, oh, I haven't had this, I haven't had this, I haven't had this, I haven't had this. And then that means I did not do my due diligence before I bought the bottle. Maybe I should do that more often. So I buy a bottle because I want to do a review. My goal is to actually have a website, which I basically at the moment almost have, of all of the different products available in Germany from the USA, that people can take a look at my website and say, hey, it's a Wikipedia of whiskeys from the USA and from Ireland and from other places. Never get Scotch all done, but I'm trying. And they can actually take a look and see product review, bum, bum, bum. All right, so something that was available in Germany. No one has done a video about it, so I wanted to do a video, and that's that. So if you could take a look at the website here from Grand Traverse Distillery.com today, you will see that there is an Ole George Rye Whiskey available. The labeling looks totally different, and what is also very disappointing for me was the fact is not only did they up the ABV to 50%, they changed the mash bill. This is 100% straight rye, so I do not know if it's malted or unmalted. I'm going to guess unmalted rye. And the new is 95% rye and 5% malted rye mash bill. All right, so it's not malted. So it is 100% rye still. So here, nowhere on the label do we see that it is 59% unmalted and 5% malted rye. That would be good to know. So it's still a 100% rye here. And why? It's actually more of a homage on the Protestant Scotch and the German immigrants that came to, they brought the still to America, and this is a hearty rye, clean, crisp, should have some pepper notes, bold, flavorful, holding its beautiful profile when served neat on the rocks or in classic cocktails. Yay, thank you, George. Ole George Rye Whiskey here, 50%. So they did up that. I must admit, this is a label I could almost make. All right, so with all my thumbnails and all the other, I've actually helped design labels over here in Germany and so on. I am not a good graphic designer. This is not a good label. The new label they have pops. It's actually nice. It's well made. It's well done. Good job in getting someone professionally in there. They changed the bottle design. This is more the dumpy bottle. Now they have the same bottle basically that Rebel 10-year-old comes in. Looks a little bit more high class and very, very nice. So if we go up to the story here of Grand Traverse, it's Northern Michigan's original craft distillery. So we have Kent, that's the dad, Rabish, R-A-B-I-S-H, if I mispronounce your name, sorry. And they are in Pinconning, Michigan. And his son now, which is Landis, is the master distiller. Kent is the founder, and they have a lot of different people running, doing stuff there. And I wish you all the best for what you're doing. So Grand Traverse Distillery, 781 Industrial Circle, Suite 5. All right, interesting. Traverse City, Michigan, up there in 49686 as a zip code. All right, very, very nice. So what am I going to compare it to? I went for something very, very exotic that I recently also did a video about. This is from Australia, 100% rye from Australia. This is the Gospel Straight Rye Whiskey. This is 45%. So I have a little bit left in my glass from my video beforehand. I must admit that I am not always the biggest fan here of 100% rye whiskeys. 95.5, the mash bill from MGP, yummy, yummy, yummy. My favorite 100% rye unmalted is Lot 40. Thank you very much, Dr. Don Livermore, for making that possible. But many of these ryes are a tiny little bit too young, tiny little bit too green. There's too much of a dill note in there. All right, so let's take a look at what the Traverse is doing. Now, the interesting thing here is I get immediately transferred to a place called IKEA. And over here in Germany, IKEA has a hot dog, or before COVID, they had that hot dog bar where you could make your own hot dogs. A hot dog over here was basically €1, and you got the hot dog, the wiener, and the bun. And you went over to the station, you put all your ketchup and your mustard and your mayonnaise, and over here we have pickles, and what they love are these roasted onions. I dislike roasted onions with a passion. And what I get here is I'm standing at that hot dog station, and the people beside me just put those roasted onions on them and those pickles. I love pickles and mustard, and we don't have relish over here, not hardly at all. And mustard and ketchup and pickles on my hot dogs. I'd get like 3 and boom, 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 boom. They were so good. But that's what I'm getting. I'm getting a lot of the dill from the pickles and a tiny little bit of that roasted moment here. I do not know. I see a picture of their pot still here. It says Bodensee. It says Dorf on it. So I would guess it's going to be, wait a second, it's Arnold Holstein. Exactly, I can read it. So there's an Arnold Holstein German pot stills, a hybrid that they're using. And I'm not sure if it's direct fired or if it's steam. I have a little bit of the feeling that there might be, I might be wrong, but there might be some direct fired going on here. That there's a little bit of contact with the copper, and maybe that malt has changed a tiny little bit there. It might be just the fact that they're using some malted barley in there as well. Dr. Don Livermore does not like malted barley in his, I said barley twice. It might be malted rye. He does not like the malted rye because it adds a new chemical compound that just doesn't do it for him, and maybe that's the same thing with me. I'm very, very shocked at the price of this bottle, 89 euros. That's just way, way out there in left field for me. So do we have a price here where we can actually buy in the States? Oh, their distribution is actually not very good. I'm sorry. So not very expansive. They are in Michigan everywhere. They are in Wisconsin, Illinois, down there in Missouri a little bit, and so on. But even in D.C., Pennsylvania, New York, West Coast, and so on, we can't find it. So that's actually an interesting thing that I can buy it in Germany, but you might not be able to buy it here. So, yes, I am 21 years of age. In the United States, this bottle costs $60. I paid basically 90 euros for it. I do not believe that this made it to Germany before. I'm sorry, I do believe that this made it to Germany before we had our tariffs. The tariffs are now gone, but we had a 25% tariff. It was expected to double in December of 2021. Luckily, they repealed it or suspended it or got rid of it. Depends on who you ask and how they're answering the questions. And so, yeah, still $60. Cheers. It's not bad. There is the dill forward moment. If they're trying to go for an old, bold rye spice moment, way far away from the MGP 95.5, they made it. They did it. That's that. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of it, but they actually did it. There is a sweetness here. It says here our forefathers enjoyed rye, whiskey that was a big, bold character and flavor profile that's unique. They do not chill filter their whiskeys. Very good. The objective was to let the rye be the star, and George, our distiller, is proud to put his name on this very smooth rye whiskey. If I go back here, I don't see a George. So our team about So we have a Steve, we have a Joe, we have a Chris, we have a Simon, we have a Laura, we have an Angie, we have an Austin, and we have here the Landis that has now become the master distiller. I guess there's a little part of the history of the Grand Traverse Distillery Company that I don't know about. Interesting that it said here. Our objective was to let the rye be the star, and George, our distiller, is proud to put his name on the very smooth rye whiskey. This whiskey is handcrafted in small batches and double distilled using a copper pot still. Okay, I have no idea who George is. All right, I think I solved the mystery here. If I go back to the About page here, it says Kent Rabish grew up on a small farm in Michigan, where the days were long, the work was hard, and you never took anything for granted. One day, while exploring the property, Kent came across a still hidden in the back of the barn. Grandpa George had been putting the excess grain to good use. And if I have another website here, it actually says here, my wife and I were visiting our friends back in 2000 in Bend, Oregon, when it was suggested that we stopped off at the Bent Distillery tasting room for a drink. I was blown away by the quality here. It was American-made product, vodka, gin, whiskey. It took me 3 years before I got things going, but we're up and rolling in 2006 with a license to distill in 2007. Before that, I was a pharmaceutical rep with a degree in biology and chemistry, plus worked on my grandfather's farm. He was named George Rabish, so we called our vodka Old George. We're also of Polish descent, so we love our vodka. We love supporting the local farmers growing American grain. All right, so that's a little bit of background information here from 2020 from Kent Rabish. So Old George is the grandfather. All right, this whiskey is handcrafted. And is proud to put his name on it. Our objective was to let the rye be the star and George, our distiller. I'm not sure about the phrase George, our distiller, is proud to put his name on this very smooth. I don't know if they're doing a little bit of greenwashing or whatever they're doing here. I know greenwashing is not the right term, but they're bending the truth. Who knows? All right, so a lot of information here about the surroundings of whiskey, which I love doing, and not actually tasting it itself. This is a solid C whiskey. It's not bad, it's not good, it's not terrible, it's not great, fantastic, it's okay. There is that that sweetness to the rye, there is the bold to the rye. I think 50% might actually make it go up a little bit better and become a little bit better of a whiskey. What's missing on the label here, of course, it does say, I'm sorry, forgive me once again. It does say Straight Rye Whiskey. If it's straight and there's no age statement on it, it has to be at least here 4 years of age. So I read someplace that it's at least 3 years of age. This bottle is a little bit different, who knows? And I also found a bottle that was not at 46.5%, but rather 43%. So maybe they've gone up over the years in proof here. It's a little different as a rye, but that's good. The Gospel rye, also 100% rye, is a little bit different. It's very vegetal. It's much more of a Italian type of spice moment. I'm not a great fan of that finish. Very green peppery, very vegetal. Lot of, as I said, that spice. Marjoram, grassy. If you like that, why not? My favorite 100% rye whiskey, I think I showed it. I'm going to show it again. Lot 40. Love it. Can't beat it in my opinion. Very good stuff. There's some good craft stuff going out there. Question of the day is, what is your favorite craft rye whiskey? So craft would mean Lot 40 is definitely not craft. They're making millions and millions of liters of alcohol a year up there in Windsor, Ontario. Not craft. These guys, gospel craft. Transverse distilling up in northern Michigan, craft. Many things down in Texas, craft. What is your favorite craft? Balconist, 100% rye, very mocha. They use roasted rye in there, a little bit like the Signet Glenmorangie of Texas. If you like that mocha cappuccino moment, absolutely what you will, or what you want. There's a lot of different things going on here with rye out there, and I'd be interested to hear what's your favorite craft rye whiskey. Thank you very much. Will I buy this bottle again? No. Value for money, for me, it's a D. 90 euros is way too expensive. $60 is a little bit too expensive. I would go to something else, but I do understand that a $60 price tag is what you need to have in the States often to do handcrafted stuff like this. So just didn't wow me away that I'd buy it again. So if you're up in Michigan and you're from Michigan, take a look at the Grand Traverse Distillery. They're doing some good things, offering tours and so on. So why not just drop by and say hi? Whiskey Jason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany, tasting rare whiskey from Australia, from Michigan, and so on. Things you might not ever seen on your shelves, but might arrive one day. What a privilege for me to be in Germany and to get such different whiskeys over here. All the best. See you soon. Whiskey Jason. Bye-bye.